That's crazy.
Technical difficulties.
Mm-hmm. I'm still having difficulties apparently
That's what I said.
because I didn't even know how to get to this group. That's crazy. Okay, that is so weird. You're an admin in that group, right?
I think so.
Hmm. Because I'm
Mm-hmm.
confused as to why.
They got us on.
On which one? Yeah, but that one. What about the other one though?
What other one? What are you talking about?
It does have me as an admin on there in the actual group. This one. For some reason, it's not even showing when I go to my I have to figure it out later. Anyway, yeah, we have to figure it out because I don't understand what's going on with that one. That makes no sense to me. Yeah, because it comes up at the groups I manage, but I don't understand. So anyway, let's figure that out. So I think you have to share it into that group though, into the actual group, into this group, because otherwise it won't see it because it won't post in there for some reason. So anyway, okay, we had it's been a day today.
And a half. And it's just getting started.
Shoot, I don't know. I'm supposed to stay up and work, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that because
I'm going to work.
this is a lot, and I don't quite still don't understand what's going on. But anyway, our whole thing kind of malfunctioned, and
Crashed.
I had to
Exploded.
re-add all of our groups and everything, which is just weird. I've never had to do that before, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. But anyway, it's been a day because we've had some issues with our oven.
Got a $2,000 water bill.
Yeah, water bill was $2,000.
We didn't gave everybody in the neighborhood baths.
And so, yeah, all kind of stuff. And then I had the last minute, I remembered I was supposed to elect my medical benefits. I hate enrollment period, but you have to do every year, which I think is ridiculous. You really shouldn't have to do that every year. It should only be like if you want to change something, you can go in there and change something. But otherwise, you shouldn't have to go in there and do all this stuff every year. That's crazy. So anyway, I realized that the last minute, so I can't even try to rush and do that. But it's just been one thing after another. So that's what kind of held us up. That's why we over an hour late.
Not
45 minutes
45 minutes.
late. Yeah, so that's crazy. Anyway, this chapter was on
Sex.
becoming sexual. I guess that's what it was called.
Yeah, sex.
Becoming sexual.
Just doing the butt.
Now, for some reason, you said you didn't get a lot out of this chapter, so I'll let you start off to talk about why you didn't get a lot out of the chapter.
You gonna let me what?
Start off by talking about what you didn't get out of the chapter.
Well,
I thought it was actually a good chapter.
I'm talking about a whole bunch of. So here's the thing with me, what they were talking about, and she's gonna have to indulge in the deeper details to pull it out of me. But I can honestly say I don't look at sex like they were talking about sex. A lot of it is because of what you said. I have been what do you say?
You
Yeah.
been desensitized?
Yeah, I've been desensitized to sex, right?
But I don't think that's not why. It's because it was going back to traditional stuff about Christians and their views and stuff.
You gonna tell me?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No,
no, I'm just saying that has had nothing to do with
it. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't view sex like I've never viewed sex how they went back to the, like she said, the traditional way of sex. It was like I started having sex and then I just started having sex. Like I didn't view it as they was talking about in the traditional form of sex. So it kind of it was like a lost chapter for me, because I couldn't connect with it. I'll say it that way, because that's not how I view sex.
But that's what it did. But he wasn't saying that's how you should view. He was trying to give a historical analysis on where some of these sexual ideologies have come from. And to start that off, he had talked about the whole biblical Christian realm, Puritans, all that type of stuff, Catholics, their views on sex and how that kind of laid the foundation, and then it kind of morphed into different things. So that's what he was talking about. But you were saying there was something else you was going to talk about on there, and you was going to wait and talk.
No, I was just going to simply say that I think when the way that he was speaking about sex with the Christian values and the Christian views, and then the Catholics and all of that, again, I never viewed sex like that. So I think I did become desensitized to sex, and I don't think that the connection that he was speaking about, that it could bring partners, make their connection stronger. I never really understood that. I understand it a little bit more now, but it's, again, and that's basically what I was gonna say, is because I just, like, sex is just sex to me.
Yeah, but I think so it was two parts to it. So again, he was laying the foundation. I don't think that had anything to do with the connection of it. Because he was saying that the foundation, he was saying that a lot of times Christian people, historically, they view sex as part of like just flesh, right? Like if you were engaging in sex for anything other than procreation, it was considered sinful back then. So that's what he was talking about. He was talking about that foundation. And he said that's what led to some people having the views that they have about sex right now. And just like I was telling you about how the Catholics still don't really openly like support birth control and everything, because the whole theory behind that is that you're supposed to have sex for procreation, not for enjoyment. So he starts off by talking about that. Then he goes on to say how the Bible in the Sons of Solomon, how that whole book is actually about sex, and how it's okay for people to be sexual with their partner. That's what he was talking about. So he went from that, saying like some people were, kind of reluctant to be sexual with their partner, wouldn't really communicate their sexual needs to their partner because of this long-standing tradition about sex was taboo unless you were trying to procreate. And that it has changed, and that people should embrace that change. But he was talking about how some people still deal with that as far as in relationships, because he was talking about how you have partners right now who don't want to talk to each other about what they really want sexually, and that comes from that type of background. I'm just saying.
And as I said earlier, I know nothing of that. I can understand that part, but I know nothing of that. So it was kind of the I mean,
but that's why he was put in the book, so that you can learn it.
Yeah, and it was kind of like, for me personally, it was like, okay, that ain't what I expected the chapter to be. But anyway, the whole thing, what I was saying about, again, with me, I never thought about sex as being something for a connection and to build connection with your partner or anything else like that. I just thought that, you was in a relationship and you have sex, and it was just that blanketed, that straightforward to me, and things like that. So I guess it was an interesting chapter, other than, me, as far as learning that aspect. That was a little bit, I guess I lost interest a little bit because I wasn't expecting the chapter to be like that, basically. So,
well, anyway, he says that there are adults who still do not understand sexual intimacy in healthy ways. And that is why many people are sexually repressed, sexually unfulfilled, sexually overexposed, and even sexually underdeveloped. Which that gets back to what you were talking about the desensitization of sex.
Yes.
And your experiences. I mean, so why do you think you're desensitized?
Because I didn't never use sex what it was created for. It was just a game with me. It was I was the one that was and just out there doing it without a meaning behind it. So therefore, I didn't understand where the connection, how it was supposed to build a connection. And matter of fact, if I'm being honest, it was only to you, only until I met you. Till I've heard it before from women that that's the way that you can connect with your partner, and it never registered with me. And still, because of everything that I've done in the sexual realm, as far as not connecting with people, like it was just like I feel it's a little bit different with you than it has been before. Maybe it's because I actually fell in love for the first time in my life, and it's a little bit different. And I still struggle with like, okay, you mad? Like if we get mad and sex supposed to make everything better, and I'm mad at you. I told you, I'm like, yeah, get the hell away from me. Like I don't want you touching me. Like you know what I mean? So and you said that helps you with the connection. And I mean, I've heard other women, not with me, but in general, say the same thing when it comes to that. So I mean, I tentatively understand it a little bit more, but it's still hard for me to understand it 110%, and I don't know why.
You said that who was one of the messages you got about sex when you were growing up?
Oh well, yeah. Belinda on here.
Don't, you ain't gotta say the word.
Well, my father told me. My father told me that I was about 15. He said, boy, you better get all you can while you're young, because when you get my age and that thing don't work right no more, you're gonna wish you did. So like I didn't have a positive I always use a positive instruction manual when it came to sex, because that's what my father told me. And then as I started growing up, I was running the streets anyway, and then how society makes sex look anyway, I used the man outgo of it, and it just became a game. So it was like I didn't to meet someone and fall in love with them and use it for a connection. I never did.
Right.
So it's hard for me. It's hard. That's why it's a little bit hard for me to understand. And also going back to what I said, I wonder if it's like, is that the reason? Like if we get mad, it's like, and I've always been like that. Like, I don't want nobody touching me. Like I never understood when people say angry sex or makeup sex is the best sex. Like I never subscribed to that. So it's like that's kind of weird to me. And now I will say this: I to be honest, like I said, we have had moments that not angry moments, like when we first started dating and throughout. When we've had sex, is like it just felt different. So I don't know what the feeling is. It just felt. And I ain't talking about the actual intercourse. I'm just talking about everything around it. It just felt different. I never felt like that before. So I guess I have. So I say tentatively, I can kind of understand. I can kind of understand. I just don't know, like, what exactly that feeling is. It was a great feeling. It was a feeling like, wow. It's a feeling like, oh, I think she loves me. I think I'm in love. Like, but it's like I can't really describe it like you or a woman would describe it. I also say that too. I think that I also thought that a lot of times women, that was a woman thing, for them to say it's a connection or it builds connection. I don't know, because I've never been around too many men that says that or have said that. So it's like I've never heard a man say that at all. So that's a whole nother subject. I wonder if that's part of that man versus woman war thing that's going on as well.
Yeah, it could be.
So
it could be. When he talks in this chapter, he states, he says, when we speak of intimacy, we are speaking of a connection that takes place beyond the usual emotional connection of those we encounter. Couples that share a sense of intimacy are ultimately sharing a sensual, physical connection. So he talks about the closeness that comes with that connection moves us to express ourselves in more deliberate ways. And one interesting couple he had in this particular chapter was a couple who were having issues with sexual intimacy.
And that sounds like an everyday thing for real.
Yeah, the man said that he felt like their sex life had gotten boring. And the wife was just like, yes, because he wants to have sex all the time. And then the guy is like, well, we used to have sex all the time. And it's funny because to him, it became boring because they were not continually engaging in sex like they had been when they were dating. And then what the wife explains is that, yeah, but when we were dating, we didn't really see each other like that. Like, we live together now. We see each other every day. So like before, when we were only seeing each other on the weekends, then yeah, you know, we were having more sex. But now that we're seeing each other every day, like, it's a bit much to be having sex every day.
But isn't that kind of weird though, that I would think that would have been the opposite way. It seemed like she should have been complaining about that more than he would have been complaining about that. Because I would think that a man would not want to have sex as much.
No, men always want to have sex. Supposedly they're supposed to want to have sex more than women do.
He met you.
I'm just saying that's how they supposedly are.
Okay.
So, and he also talked about how sometimes couples, and that's that's the whole issue with the whole intimacy thing before you become married and everything anyway, is because some of these problems that people face, you wouldn't face had you actually lived your life according to how the Bible instructs and not have engaged in sexual activities before you got married. Because some of these issues come from the fact, again, like they expect their sexual activities to stay the same once they get married, even though they've been you know, even though they were dating and it was in a totally different realm. But the other thing he talks about is how some women are actually more sexual because they're being told, like, this is what you need to do to keep a man. And you hear that so much about it saying, like, well, if you don't give it to him, he's going to get it from somewhere, blah, 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 blah. So then you have all these women that are engaging in maybe even sexual activity they really don't want to or feel comfortable doing, but they're doing it because they want to keep their man or keep their man satisfied. And then when they get married and they back off from it because now, hey, we're married, I don't need to do all that anymore. Then it becomes an issue when you get frustrations and resentment and those things.
Well, especially, and I agree with that too, because especially I know of a couple people that have convinced their girlfriends, wives to have threesomes. And it's really, you know, for me, knowing her personally, and throughout their relationship, is something that she's not even going down that line. Mm-hmm. But because of what you said, the ideology out here now, if you don't do it, another woman do it, or you know, he's gonna go get it from somewhere. So and you know, forced to feel as though that you have to do that to make him happy. Mm-hmm. So that's a thing. I could see that point. However, that's not necessary. Like, I don't say, that's what I'm saying. In relationships, that's why I say with me, and where my disconnect come from that is, I love sex. I love sex with you like anybody else in the world love having sex with their partner, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't need sex like that. That's not my driving force. So like when it said, what did it say? Like 10% of it when it's good, it's like
90%. When it's good, it's 10% of the marriage.
Problem. When it's bad,
it's 90%
of the problem.
Yeah.
So with me, it's like, okay, if you don't feel like it and I don't feel like it, or whatever the case, I'm not making a big deal of it. I don't need to run out here and go try to be with another woman, or you want to have sex one time every 8 months. I think I would be okay, because that's just not a requirement for me. As far as, you know what I mean? But so I can understand too. Actually, you did help me understand this with the frustration level of, you know, women. And I just don't even ever see how a man can be sexually frustrated. That's just like blasphemy to me. Because like, how the hell can a man be sexually frustrated? Like,
how
can he?
Well, what do you mean? How can he?
How can he? Like, if you're
what are you saying?
Okay. Well, I'll say this. I'll take this back. He can be sexually frustrated if you're not having sex with him.
All right.
Yes. But as far as the, like what we was talking about with you know, my sister, right? Women can get sexually frustrated like that because of not orgasming, not whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. Once the act begins, how do we as men become sexually frustrated? Because we're gonna have orgasm anyway.
Okay, but see, now you going back to that whole patriarchy, male masculinity, toxic thought that.
No, I said
because what you're saying is that men don't have any type of emotional connection when they have sex with women, and because they don't have any emotional connection, then they should only be concerned with the orgasm, which is completely false.
Whoa. Who should only be concerned with the
men?
No, I'm saying it's impossible for us not to be. I mean,
why can't you be sexually frustrated because of the fact that you didn't feel like they were emotionally connected to you during the act? You looking at sex as one thing. I got you. You're looking at it as an entirety.
Because 2 reasons. One, because for the most part, I don't think men unless you're in touch with yourself, I don't think that men. Not all men. I'm not saying all men. That's like I'm not putting us, but I would say.
What you just said, I don't see how men can be.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the majority of men. I ain't talking about every single man in the world, because a lot of men. I mean, you do have men that's emotionally connected to their woman, is emotionally connected to themselves, which allows them to be emotionally connected. You have those, but if you had a vast majority of men like that, we wouldn't have this bickering back and forth. So getting back to my point, I believe. No, I haven't done I'm not a doctor or a lawyer, or no research and no stuff like that. But I believe that the vast majority of men are not emotional enough to connect sexually, emotionally.
I don't know if I agree with you. I don't know. I wouldn't say that's majority, because
if we were, we wouldn't be having all of these wars, and we would understand.
That's necessarily true.
Okay.
That the war, the bickering back and forth, I don't think has anything to do with sex.
Well, I'm talking about as far as like the cheating, because if you're emotionally connected with your woman like that, you're not gonna cheat on her. You're not gonna have thoughts of even trying to be with somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm speaking for me and for I
think being emotionally connected and doing what love demands, which would be not the not cheating stuff, are 2 totally different things.
I think they go hand in hand.
Well, they can, but I'm saying they also can be 2 totally different things.
Okay.
Because I'm just saying, so that would propose to say that you would say that you know what each man.
I just said I'm not talking about every man.
What the vast majority of men love languages are, because some men, you will hear some men say, like, why do I always have to initiate sex?
And those are the ones. Okay, so but where that come from? Who says that more, women or men?
I don't know, because I'm not in the.
I would think women say that. Maybe that's a social class as well, because the guys.
It's a gender thing.
Oh, well, what this one?
Yeah, gender thing.
It's how many genders is it?
You know what? This is gender thing.
How many genders is it? Man and woman, right? I just said men. Jesus Christ! But it's. I'm not saying, because okay. Let me say this. You said that to me before plenty of times. Why I gotta always be the one that initiates sex, right? That ain't the first time that I've heard that. That ain't the first time from some of my friends that I was around, that they heard that they want to say this, that, and the third. So we as men don't. It's when I just don't think sex is that emotional for us like it is you guys. And I'm not saying all men, because you have men that's totally in love with their woman, that's totally in step with their spouse, and and understands what love demands, right? Mm-hmm. But I just honestly think that it's more of women that has that women are more emotionally connected with sex than us, because it's. And the other reason I'll say that is because we can go out there and sleep with 1,000 people.
I get that, but then you just told me. See, this is where you just told me that knowing what love demands would mean that you have to be emotionally connected.
Yes.
And that emotionally connected would be emotionally connected with regards to sex too.
Yes.
But then you yourself just admitted that you're not that emotionally connected when it comes to sex.
But I'm a rarity.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're right. But I'm a rarity when it comes to that, because of. And it's probably a lot of people that's like me as well in that realm, because of all the things that they've done. Like I never would have thought that I was desensitized like that when it comes to sex. Like it's just like I view it as a special. I don't know how to explain it. I just tried to explain it before we came on here. It's definitely special. Mm-hmm. It's definitely I'm talking about you and I, enjoyable, more enjoyable than it ever has been before. But I think at certain times it's going to mean more to you than it will me, if that makes any sense.
Right. Yeah.
Because you look at it in a different realm, even from the biblical standpoint, and that's a realm that I've never had a connection with, or really. Only thing I knew about sex was like, oh, you don't supposed to have sex before you get married, from the biblical aspect of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, you look at it from a totally different place than I do. Mm-hmm. So that's the reason I'm not necessarily connected like that, because I am connected and I am an emotional person now. I think if I would have had that foundation starting off, then it would have been different,
right?
Of that. You know what I mean? Because I'm still trying to learn at 40, whatever I am, how to make it more of a connection for us.
Right.
Right? Like I want to, this is going to sound so, I don't know what it's going to sound like. It's going to sound fruity. Say it like that. I want to be able to, because you've done it with me before. I won't be able to have sex and cry because it feels so, whatever the emotions is. I want to know what that feels. I'm laughing because it's kind of embarrassing for me to say it, but I'm serious. Like, I want to be having sex and just tears come out my damn eyes for no reason. I don't know why. I want to know what that feels like. But that's what I'm saying. I don't think we as men most of the time can connect that deep. I've never seen a movie when a guy was having sex with his wife and he started crying. It's always a woman.
But what the only thing I'm saying is, like, I agree that men have been socialized differently to see that, and there's differences because of biology, right? But I wouldn't say that men can't be like that, or all men aren't programmed to be like that, or all men don't know that. I think there's a difference between men who are raised in love and men who have seen love exemplified in their household, men who have seen, not sexual intimacy, but their parents being intimate with each other as far as hugging each other. And I think it depends on all of that as to whether or not they can emotionally connect with their wife during sexual intimacy. So I'm not going to say men aren't built to do that. That's not, I think that if God created all of us in his image, which he did, then we all have that capability. Well, now, whether or not it's been stunted by certain things is a totally different topic.
And I agree with you 100% on that. If you are shown how to love, if you see your mother and your father having a healthy, loving, caring relationship, that's instilling something in you. Whereas if me, as say, I'm a single father and I have a son and he come to visit or whatever, and the mother too, but mainly I'm talking about from a father's perspective, mm-hmm. and you see him, see your father running different women in and out the house. That's a different atmosphere. To your point, I'm mm-hmm. saying I agree with you. Then, seeing him and mommy and daddy together and hugging mm-hmm. and loving on each other, because that's showing him how to love a woman.
Right.
Which goes back to the statement, men wasn't meant to be. That's so far from the truth. Like, ain't no a newborn baby didn't come out and tell me, hey, I want many a women. Like that's society and how your upbringing. And I'm speaking from personal experience. How you are brought up tells you you're not meant to be tells you you're meant to be with more than one woman. If I would have had a different upbringing, I could have met you at 18, 19 years mm-hmm. old. You've been my first sexual partner, and I would have been happy the rest of my life. Because at 47, I don't need nobody else.
Right.
And people could say, well, and I've said that. I've done everything that I wanted to do sexually, and whatever I had that's part of it. But the deeper part of that with me is I understand now, and understanding changes that I need this woman, I need that woman, I need this woman. I seen somebody else. We was talking about that post when that dude said the same thing. Men wasn't meant to be with one woman or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, why?
Right.
Why are they not? So one woman, if that's the case, if men wasn't made to be with one woman wasn't meant to be with one man. Like we can't do that.
Right.
We can't do that. Now, if you're not ready to be with one woman or
Then
man, that's
totally
something different.
What trips me up is that the men that say that, like, they're basing that off of what mammals do in the animal kingdom. So basically, y'all want to say that y'all animals, like, you have no brain function at a higher level than an animal does because you have to have more than one. That doesn't. That's not a compliment, really, to yourself.
And then if you think about it, even to and I'm not trying to attack you, I'm just attacking the statement. I'm sorry. And look, I've done everything that every other man that's did, so I'm no angel at all. But if you really think about it, to me, in my opinion, it boils down to getting bored with one person, whatever it is, with the sex with the one person or whatever. Because at the end of the day, that the vagina that you're not being faithful to, and you go out here to go be with another woman, is going to do the same thing to you that the last woman did. That's going to make you have an orgasm. So I don't understand why we are not meant to be why that statement is we're not meant to be with one woman or whatever the case may be, because you're going to get the same feeling one way or another. So what we are meant to do is love. And going back to the whole thing with the sex thing, I think it's somewhere in there. I should have marked it down, but I think that's the biggest part of the whole thing too. When you search for love instead of just sex, that changes the whole dynamic of I have to have more than one person, in my opinion.
Right. So, you mean the love in our music? We really don't hear that in our music anymore. If that's what you're talking about, the music nowadays has gotten to the point of, because it's not like you didn't have quote unquote raunchy music back in the day, but they didn't even say the stuff. I mean, you had to analyze what they were saying back then to know that they were talking about sex. Like if you did not think about it deeply, you were like, what they talking about? Like you didn't know that, right? But these days, you just know that's what they're talking about. Like they just go. It's so outrageous how they talk about sex, and that's part of the desensitization of it too. If you desensitize people by having music like that and by promoting that type of stuff. And then, so who is going to look at sex in the way that they should? Right. When you have all this stuff telling you that sex is just something to be had with sometimes multiple people, stuff that you're supposed to be getting joy out of with multiple people. And at this rate, it's like, so what if you get pregnant because you always got Plan B, and Plan B is the new birth control now. So that's what people are doing. So it's just crazy.
What is that? How do you say it? Polygamy or whatever it is with them three, the poly stuff, the polyamorous
relationship.
That, first of all, you want to talk about, and again, I'm not attacking you. I'm just saying this. I don't know. To me, that'll be, first of all, as somebody that used to have 2 and 3 different women, that is some of the hardest stuff in the world to do, because you have to deal with 2 and 3 different personalities, right? So for you to be in a polyamorous or whatever it is relationship, you got 2 women, or if you dealing with men, as far as like women and 2 husbands, which whatever, you have to deal with those 2 personalities all the time. We bump heads. So imagine bumping heads with with another woman and you. That's what's not meant to be. Right? Imagine you having 2 husbands. Right. Like that's, and from the aspect of that, we as people, we're gonna have a jealousy in us in
that's
some
type
of way.
Like, don't even ask me that.
What happens
if you want somebody to just get it right?
Exactly, because it's like, what happens if she does this and you moan a little bit louder than you did when she did that? Now you got, man, no, that's what's not meant to be. Like I couldn't, man. Listen, man. So anyway,
couldn't take that stress. That's just crazy. But he gives some guidelines in this book about becoming sexual, right? And how to enhance your sexual relationship. So again, he talks about if you're truly connected with your spouse, you have someone who's committed to working on this expression of love and affection with you. and the learning process can be a journey for the both of you.
Oh, well, yeah, I agree to that.
And so he says,
Correct.
number one, don't be afraid to talk. And so this whole book has one of the recurring themes has been communication. And so even when you're talking about in the sexual realm, communication is important because you should feel comfortable. Two people need to feel comfortable being able to communicate to each other what their sexual needs are in that relationship. And then you reach an agreement. You work together to come up with something that's going to benefit both of you. And so that's important. Oh, what you laughing about?
I know that. What you saying?
Number two is understand sex is meant to be enjoyed. Okay, so don't look at it as something that you're obligated to do or that you have to do to keep your husband happy. And the spouse shouldn't be looking at it as something that your wife has to do, and that's her role as a wife is to sexually please you. Because when you start looking at it that way and you're not looking at it as something to be enjoyed, that's where you run into these situations where the man complaining to somebody, she always telling she got a headache and blah, and she's saying that she don't want to do it and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's like a chore. That's where you start getting that type of those things happening because you'll have a spouse who not even taking into consideration that his partner may have had a very stressful day or he may have been encountering some things at work that it has messed up his mind, messed with him mentally. Some men, due to stress, can't even perform even if they wanted to. Some women can't even perform if they so tired. But if you realize that sex is something to be enjoyed with your partner, and if you see your partner tired or you see your partner stressed and you see that your partner is not really into it right then you should be more willing to be like, okay, no, I want this to be an enjoy a moment that she can enjoy or a moment that he can enjoy. So we'll just wait until later.
Nah, I ain't waiting. I'm gonna get some Vaseline or some baby oil. And I'm
Number three is don't be afraid to try new things.
So now I'm gonna go ahead and say this new thing stuff, right? A lot of that has to do with we talked about this like when we first started talking about this stuff. A lot of it has to do when it comes to us men with our egos, number one, and we don't want to look at our wives or girlfriends as slut buckets, right? So that's that when they say don't be afraid to try new things. Women may think, I think sometimes a woman may think that a man is afraid to try new things when it's more like, we look at that as whorish activities. So it ain't that we don't want to try new things. It's like we don't look at y'all like that. Because like we said, this is a little bit off subject. We'll go out there with a side chick and do everything in the world as new that you probably want done to you. So I don't necessarily believe that we ain't afraid to try new things. Now, if we're gonna talk about me, on the other hand, certain things that's kind of, I don't do that. You want to do what? All right, get away.
Stop it. How are we doing that? Why he's just making it?
Yeah, like no, I'm a man of God.
No, that's not true. The other thing is make your spouse know that you want him or her. So everybody wants to feel like they're desired, wants to feel wanted. And so that's important. And when we think about that, even when you're talking about, that's not just saying like to initiate it, but that's talking about during that whole sexual act. So if you're looking at sex as more than just penetration and orgasm, but if you're looking at it in its totality, you would realize that being desired or helping your spouse feel like they're desired is from beginning to middle to the end, right? It's touching them in a way that indicates that they're desired. It's kissing them in a way that indicates they're desired. It's all of that. It's throughout the day talking to them in a way that indicates that they're desired. It's sometimes the little touches that you give your spouse or the little looks you give your spouse that indicates that they are desired. But for some reason, and this goes into, we can talk about this the next time, but this goes into this whole idea about even the foreplay and all that thing. Like I'm so confused as to why people think that they're supposed to just get right to it, especially when you're talking about somebody that you love, that you are in love with, your spouse, your partner. Why would you think that is okay to all the time just get right to it and they not feel a certain way about that? I mean, because that's what happens. Like you make a person not really feel desired. Then a person would start feeling objectified when you do that. Like that's all you are to them is, or they are to you is a person to have sex with. If you can't even take the time to make them feel desired. Well, I'm just you tripping.
No. I'm not saying that. I understand what you're saying because I have always been guilty of that. But again, I think when we talk about, and again, you guys don't know me per se like that. I am different, a lot different. But I do believe even with that, right? Because as I'm listening to you, I could tell you I'm sitting here thinking how I would the old version of me would act, and how I think a lot of the people that I was around would react to what you just said. Because even saying that, how you would think that doesn't make a person feel away, right? Our natural response as a man, again, we're talking about not all men, but men that's not really
right
connected like that, is like, what do you mean? I'm here with you. I'm asking you for it. I could have been over there trying to get it from Tamika or somebody. You know what I mean? That's where our mind would go down those type of lines. Like what are you just being extra right now? Like it's sort of like the date night thing.
Mm-hmm.
I believe like with a lot of guys, we're not as uptight about the date night or with the date night thing like you guys are, because of the connection level on it. That's what I'm trying to make the parallel with. You get what I'm saying? So even with the foreplay thing, it's like, well, oh shit, you my wife. I'm married. We're married. You supposed to da da da. And it's about, like you said, making you feel special.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where if you're not emotionally connected, you lose that.
That's true. And because men were socialized to only nurture material things. Because men will take care. No, it's not. I'm just saying they'll take care of their cars. And they'll take the time washing their bikes. I've seen men spend so much time on their motorcycles, cleaning them things and getting the tires right, but then want to not do the same with their wife. As far as
y'all got tires,
I'm being serious, right? I mean, but that's what they do. So like, that part is just socialization.
I'm gonna lube you up after this over, baby.
Be spontaneous. So that's another important one, to be spontaneous. He's like, call your spouse up and tell them to meet you at home for lunch or something like that. And so I think that people forget the spontaneity and the importance of it. If you don't have that, again, that's something that turns having sex into a chore. It makes it so that it's not as intimate. So a person doesn't feel as a desire because there's no spontaneity.
Well, and as well as why people will get bored with it as well, I would think. Because like if you just continuously, like you say, just get right to it and then that's all that you do every time or whatever the case may be, I can see why people would, well, I can't see. I understand why people would say that they're bored with it.
Right.
Because it's about trying to keep it as new as possible, I guess.
Right. Yep. And then he says that in one part of this, he said the whole point of sex, if you think about it as trying to bring enjoyment to your partner and not focus on your own performance. And I thought that was so important because so many times
we go good. I struggle with that.
Focus on their own performance to the point that they don't even try to. I don't know what's going on. Like they so focused on their own performance.
Take over
these men that be doing things. Like I've heard women say, I don't know. They just be doing stuff and it'd be like the woman is like, what in the world is happening here in this bed? Because this is not it. Because they so focused on whether or not he can, I guess, reach your guts or whatever they be doing.
That's the ego thing in us. And something that you have helped me with is because look, first of all, I'm gonna say this. This is something I'm not ashamed of. I used to be when I was younger. But then
hurting us.
I starting. Well, I can tell you about that too, Joyce. We're getting to that. That's a whole different story. But something you helped me out with early on, right? Is something I used to men are normally embarrassed with, and it's when we arrive to the scene early, right? So when you understand, I learned that, and I started using it for excuse too. I learned that, you know, the way our bodies are built up, you know, men are gonna orgasm quicker than women. And with me, and I don't know if all men think like that. I think I would say that a lot will, but with me, if I'm out there with a random chick and I'm having sex with, I don't care if she orgasms or not. Like I don't. You can make all the excuses on women. Y'all probably heard this. Oh, it normally don't. What is the lines we use? Oh, this normally don't happen. It's been a while. I'm too excited. Oh, you're too good. It's too wet. Whatever. We give you all kind of excuses, right? So, but when you with somebody that you care about, and it's like you don't get there, then you get depressed or it bothers you more, or at least with me. And you know, and we went through that for a while. Not that I was quick to the draw all the time. Now I ain't trying to say that. Let's get that situated now. I ain't no quick come on shooter, whatever you want to call it. But when it does happen, when it does happen, you made me understand like it's not necessarily about you orgasm, and it's the time that you put in and the intimacy, as you said, things like that. And that's hard for a lot of, I would believe, for me it was, it's hard for a lot of men to understand as well, going back to the performance, because with us it's all ego and oh, I want her to go back and, you know, I beat it up and she gonna tell her friends it lasted 3 hours and all of this. Like it's all ego and macho-ness. So it's like to the hurting part, Joyce, you know, we as men, you know, we that I think that comes from, so from you even saying that, right? I'll put you in the same realm as her when it comes to the women. It's a certain class of women that don't enjoy that extra large elephant African Mandingo. But in the social class that I'm from and what you see on TV, the sexy red chick, how she like it in her guts and make it do this, that, and the third, and you know, all of that stuff. They glorify men with giant men parts that could potentially, you know, make you run from it. And that's what we want. And it feeds our ego anyway. So when you're an average size guy and like you're an average size guy and you can't do that, it fucks with your ego as a man. So that hurting y'all. Yeah, first of all, any man that love a woman don't want to hurt her in any kind of way at all.
I think people who want to be hurt have been traumatized in some type of way. That's just my opinion, but I think they've been traumatized because there's no enjoyment out of getting hurt. That's just weird to me. But everybody has their own little thing. But I think there's some trauma behind that from that. But
you're gonna get spontaneous tonight, baby. Look at that right there. Screw drive her.
You know, but the one thing that's really important when we're talking about enjoying someone is that to make sure that, like I've always told him, women get more irritated with a selfish lover than they do not having an orgasm. Like women get more irritated if they feel like that's all the dude was trying to do was to get his orgasm and be done, as opposed to a man who has shown her that he's taking his time with her and he's exploring her body and those types of things, and then just happens to arrive early. So that irritates women more so than anything. Stripper pose and you know what? I can't with y'all.
But I want to respond to that too. Even with that, I said about the irritation part. It goes back to what I just said. It depends on. I would think. I don't know if this to be true. It would depend on who it is, right? Because if you're irritated and like, so if you get irritated with somebody that you've been dating for a while, and it's, you know, you 4 months in or whatever, and he comes quick or whatever the case is, and he rolls over 9 times out of 10 while you're in this. We had this conversation too. That was funny. When he rolls over, if you have an attitude, he's more embarrassed than anything. So nothing gets resolved. Meaning like, yeah, okay, because you did this, because you came quick, that don't mean you have to stop doing other things. Mm-hmm. I'm guilty of that. I was never a toy guy for those moments, but that's my best friend now, buddy. Let me arrive quick, buddy. Give him here. You think I'm giving her a damn haircut in there? But anyway, but yeah, so but no, but seriously, like, so if you're in if you really in love with somebody and care about them, it was an embarrassing thing, like, damn, what I'm gonna say, like, I didn't and I came and she didn't, so it's like an embarrassing thing at that point. And yes, we just give up because we probably think that you already mad at us because we came early, right? So that's just another part of our ego thing and lack of communication, right? Because even with me, when I did that starting off, the times that I did do it and I just didn't do anything else, like, you had to eventually tell me like that, this, that, third. And it shit took me a while to break out of that.
It did.
It took me a while to break out of it. But it's because if you would have been somebody else, I wouldn't have cared. Like, I was like Drake, one time's good enough for me. You know what I mean? Like, so, but because you care, and it's part of love and not wanting to be selfish, then, I figure, I make you come, I can get a PlayStation game.
Like,
or I can go downstairs and play the game, whatever.
But anyway, that was the last chapter. The chapter on becoming more sexual was the last chapter of that book. Overall, it was a good book. I appreciated it.
Yes, first book I ever actually read too. I don't read, y'all. Not that I can't read, I just don't like reading. Shit make my hair hurt.
So it was a very good book. He gives an analogy in the conclusion, and he says that over time, marriage has morphed into a kind of high school on again, off again romance, with little to no concern for the welfare or feelings of those you have professed to love and cherish for as long as faith and love endure. And I think in that respect, he is absolutely
Marcus Small. I'm sorry, man.
Right. No, he's absolutely right. We treat marriage because of how we have been socialized. Excuse me, let me try that.
Man, you got boogers. Show the world your boogers, baby.
We treat marriage because of how we've been socialized, because of the things we see in the media, because of the things we see in videos and the music. But we do treat marriage like that. We treat marriage like we in a high school relationship with somebody that we can break up with, get back together, break up with, get back together, break up with. We don't treat it like the covenant that it really is. It's not a contract, it's a covenant. We don't treat it like the covenant that says, hey, we're going to love and cherish each other for as long as faith and love endure. We don't do that. Society is telling us, hey, if your marriage doesn't work, you just go out and get another one, like a brand new automobile. And that's the concept that we are taking into these marriages and relationships. I think that's why people are so willingly, they get married so quick without even thinking about certain things. Like some of the stuff we talked about earlier in these chapters. Why don't people have these type of discussions? Because a lot of times people are getting married with in the back of the mind saying, well, it don't work out, we just get a divorce. Right? And social media, social media makes it worse. Like social media makes it horrible. Like this, okay, now you're gonna make me talk about it. Because I was gonna talk about this next time, but this thing with men and women on social media, first of all, has gotten ridiculous, right?
Absolutely ridiculous.
Now they want to take this 10-year-old comment that this man made and run him into the ground for it. I don't even like Michael Ealy like that. Like, I don't know him personally, but I've never cared for him as an actor. I never thought he was fine. I never thought any of that, right? But he is married.
Yeah, I better be the only fine nigga you know.
He's been married since 2012. He made a statement back in 2014 about his wife not being his type. And I'm paraphrasing, but what he said essentially was that he was out in playing around with women, being with a bunch of women. He had this romanticized ideal about what a partner should be like. And at the end of the day, he ended up being with someone more practical. So he was saying his wife was not his type, right? So he didn't really say what his type was, but you can gather from how he was talking that his type was probably some flashy chick who maybe wasn't very practical about how she spent money, maybe wasn't very practical about how she, any of that stuff. And that's what his type was, and that his wife was totally different. Do you know you got people running this man into the ground because of a quote that he made back in 2014 and him and that woman still together? So I finally said to these people, you know what? Y'all sitting here talking about he didn't pick his type and he should have been, she should feel embarrassed because he said this. And who wants to be the practical person that somebody picked? I'm like, and he done been with her longer than y'all have been with y'all type.
Well, and I was
right. And so y'all talking about two people that are still married from 2012 to now. And half of y'all couldn't even sustain a relationship for 2 years with your type.
Well, and a lot of times too, our types is the ones that's not the ones that works for us. Like, because your type could be a from a male perspective, a woman with big breasts, big thighs, and a big butt, and light skin, long hair, Indian, whatever it is, right? But you chasing that type haven't got you anywhere.
Right.
But broken hearts, different traumas, cheated on, whatever. From a woman's standpoint, he can have a whole lot of money, 6'8", big shalong, big feet, nice car, big house, all kind of everything, right? That's your type. But yet and still, you're getting cheated on, you're getting abused, you're getting everything else. And every man that you go for that's like that has treated you bad. Mm-hmm. But that's your type. So that type thing is, it can get you nowhere.
Right. And the thing was, I'm like, y'all, you all are sitting here and talking about a married couple who have been together that long. And instead of applauding them for being together for that long, you're tearing down their marriage. And for what? Like, his wife never came out and said, oh, when he said I was practical, that hurt my feeling. I'm
pretty sure they talked about it.
Like, I'm confused. They do the same thing with Russell and Sierra. Want to tear them down, and it's like, but they're like, y'all not even applauding the people and saying, well, good job, they got married, they decided to have kids together, they with each other, they seem like together. They love, they still in, but they're not even applauding that at all. Instead, they're trying to find flaws in it. For what reason, I'm not sure.
Clicks and likes. That was going to be one of our topics on one of our shows. Like, this man and woman war thing is we briefly talked about that the other day as well. It's a combination of your past relationships and traumatic experiences that you've been through, your opinions on certain things, and you try to voice those about other people's relationships and stuff like that because of your own experiences. Mm-hmm. So therefore, if I've been in a relationship and I did nothing but got cheated on, so now I'm going to be like, every woman in the world ain't nothing, and this woman didn't do this, or these women didn't do this, or now every woman in the world is like that. Mm-hmm. And then the same thing, vice versa with men. So I don't even really want to indulge in those conversations anymore, because at the end of the day, if you think about, like, okay, me having that conversation, everybody is not going to be like that. It's like, you're not going to people change jobs all the time. That job was like that. This job was like that. Okay, well, then you went and got another job. It's the same thing, but you're still going to have traumatic experiences or whatever you didn't like from that job. Eventually, you're going to find a job you like.
Right.
It's the same thing. Like, to me, it's just not even worth the conversation anymore.
No, it's not. But the fact that it spills over, the social media is spilling over into an actual attack on marriages is what's crazy to me. Because it's like, okay, so you're attacking marriages, even the ones that have held true, and the ones where people are doing everything right, because if they're doing everything right, then that means they a simp and blah, 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 blah. Or because their wife is practical and he didn't really want to be with her. Look, he only treating her right because she's not his preference. He just want to be with her, so he's just tolerating her, I guess. So you're attacking marriages on one end, and then on the other end, social media has opened the floor so that people who are married and don't even know what love is are exposing bad marriage, and that's all you see is the people in marriages clowning. So now you're seeing a whole bunch of people in marriages clowning. I'm in so many marriage groups where the spouse is saying this and the spouse is saying that. I'm like, what in the world? Like, what is going on with this marriage? This is how bad it's become. I'm in one marriage group that's called Marriage Life Uncensored or something, right? And in that group, all they're talking about is drama in their marriages, right? Drama. No one has anything happy to say. No one has anything about it. If you go into that group and say, hey, why are we always talking about something negative? They will get on you. They will get because marriages aren't perfect, because blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, okay, I'm in another marriage group called the Marriage Club, where all they do is talk about the happiness in their marriage. Do you know the people from the one group talk about the other people in the other group, in the Marriage Club groups, talking about they so sickening. All they talking about is all this happiness in their marriage. Like, that's just so, and I'm just like, what is wrong with people? Like, y'all actually mad that people are having healthy marriages? I'm confused.
Well, that's because, as you always tell me, that what you say, darkness can't dwell in the light, or whatever it is, and that's what that is. Like, at the end of the day, nobody's gonna have a perfect marriage. But the key to that is understanding that there is no perfect marriage.
Right.
As I said in one of the other chapters, you gotta understand that your partner gonna make mistakes. You're gonna make mistakes, and then you build on that. You don't. Even somewhere else in the book, I don't know where these chapters at. You have an ideal of what you want your marriage to look like, and as soon as it don't, or your relationship, and as soon as it don't turn out to be going down that way, and then all of a sudden it's doomsday. It's the end of the world. No, this ain't what I wanted. This ain't that. And I'm guilty of that too, because I had an idea, which it's still 90% of what I thought it was going to be. So I'm good, but you always want the 100%. Always want perfection. And when it veers off, then you're like, "Oh, what the hell going on here? Like, what are we doing? Like, why is it? This ain't what I thought it was going to be." And so it's just the ideology of what you want your marriage to be, and then when it goes off, next thing you know, people just so quick to jump off the ship and go the other way, and then want to talk bad about it. So
right.
But the other thing that get me, I'm sorry. The other thing that get me, it was I seen a post that somebody posted on my friends. We have a different class of friends. She has you intelligent people. I have Knuckles. Anyway, and they made a post saying that is marriage even necessary? I was like, I don't even. This is exactly what I put on there. I was like, I don't even know how to comment on this. Is it necessary? Well, it depends. And I ended up saying this. It depends if you believe in God or not. And I just left it at that. To me, that was self-explanatory.
Yeah. Or it could have been like, see, I responded, well, I don't know if it's necessary, but for you to ask that question means that you're not ready. Because apparently, if you don't know, then you don't need to be getting married.
And the crazy part about it is when you see other comments about that, right? I see this from women. You're not gonna have me in the obituary as that little special friend. So that's the only reason you want to be married.
It's everything's a mess. All of it is.
So you won't be classified in the obituary as a special friend. Yeah, that's a great reason to get married.
Well, hey, that's what they do. But yeah, social media has hurt a lot of things. The marriage, the whole sexual.
How much you gonna take, baby?
The whole sexual thing is impacted. Is continually telling people just go out and have sex with people. It's telling people in marriages, hey, it's easy for you to cheat because you can have access to all these people on social media, and it's okay to flirt, it's okay to look, and it's okay to be hearting other people's pictures and all this weird stuff. So it's definitely, social media has definitely made it quite a challenge.
And anybody that thinks that, no, I ain't gonna say anybody. I'll say this. Let me say it this way. I've never been a window shopper, right? I've never liked window shopping. If I can't afford it, that means I don't need it. And I look at that the same thing in my marriage. What I'm talking about is this. I ain't going out here looking at other women and talking about I'm window shopping as long as I don't touch, right? I can't afford it. And what I mean by I can't afford it, I can't afford to lose my wife. I can't afford to die. I can't afford everything else that'll come along with that. So I can't afford it. I'm not window shopping. You're the only
Only
thing.
because you can't afford it, not because you love me so much.
Yeah, I
It's
just
because
can't
you
afford. Well, I mean, yeah, it's not the. I can't afford to lose your love. I add that one too. How about that?
See, that's men speak, men
No,
math,
that's B shit.
boy math, or whatever they call it.
Uh-huh.
The thing they've been saying is boy math.
I don't know about that. So, but anyway,
Yeah, men just need to man up and not worry about what women say on these social media streets. I agree. And then in the same token, people need to customize their relationships to work for them and not worry about what everyone else is telling them they should and shouldn't do, and get this person at their lowest, get this person at the highest. Don't eat at Cheesecake Factory, eat at Cheesecake Factory. Don't eat at Waffle House, eat at Waffle House. Don't take care of somebody else's kid, take care of somebody else's kid. All that type of stuff. People just need to kind of work on their marriages in and of themselves.
well, I think, and I also think people mind they fucking dang on business. Like I don't care what Sierra and Russell Wilson do. I don't care what happens in anybody else's marriage. Like I want, when I say I don't care, I mean whatever problems they have, they're having. In my opinion, my opinion on what's going on in their relationship is just that, my opinion, and I can keep my opinion to myself. Like I don't need to. I just don't have I want to make sure we last. Fuck what everybody else doing, and I just look at it like that. Huh?
Oh Lord, yeah, he's tired. So it's time for us to go. So anyway,
yeah, we've been an hour.
Becoming Married and Staying Married. It was a very good book. It had it had different activities and questions for discussion for couples. So that made it even more interesting because the questions, a lot of questions were like thought provoking and kind of made you think about some of the things that you dealt with, especially in the chapter that talked about how your family impacted your views, how your upbringing impacted your views. So it's actually a very good book. So again, Becoming Married, Staying Married, a guide for African-American couples by Marcus Small. Very good book. Next week, I don't know what we're talking about. I think we're just going to be talking about some
we'll find out
some topics, some hot button topics or something.
I'm trying to give her to do a lawyer's what do we say? What I say? I'm trying to give her professional opinion on the Young Thug thing.
Yeah, he wants me to watch that trial and stuff. I don't know. It's not. I don't want to. I don't have time to. I mean, I'm busy like all day, every day nowadays. It seems like. So, but anyway, get the book. There is another book out there called and I have it. I can't think of the name, and I'll post the name later. But one is called How to Love a Black Woman, and the other one's called How to Love a Black Man. And then and that's a book that couples can read together. And then there's another marriage book. Do you remember that? I don't remember the name of the book. I'll post it. But there's another marriage book for couples that seemed really good too, where it's a little thicker than this book, but it's the same type of. The lady is a Christian author. There's activities in the book for the couples to do, things like that. And while we're talking about books and spontaneity and keeping things hot, Jermaine and I, we only did this once, but there's books called Adventure Challenge that you can do. And it's a book loaded with all these different adventures for couples. They have
no, don't get that book. If you're a man, don't.
They have like bedtime editions, couple editions.
No.
And the book will have you doing different things
that benefits a woman.
Oh, so the word benefits just a woman, because you've been using that a lot lately.
Well, no, the word, yeah, but I'm just saying.
Okay, so while he's talking, right?
We played the little game in the book, and every time I roll the dice, she'll rub my kneecap. I'll lick up whatever, the nastiest thing on her body, whatever you want to say. And after that, I gotta play with her toes while I rub on her nipple or something. Like everything in that damn game is that book game thing is for a woman. No benefit for a man.
But anyway, it's a good book called The Adventure Challenge, different editions. And again, like I said, you open it, you don't know what the adventures are. You have to kind of scratch them off and it'll tell you. And there's ones where you have to do stuff with whipped cream. I like the dancing one. There's one where we had to dance together and look each other in the eyes and
yeah, but all the licking and the sucking was for the woman. Because I ain't get nothing. This what I got. It said, do something sexual, sensual, and sexual to his neck. So she gonna talk about, hey baby,
that's not true.
That's all I got, a kiss on the damn neck. I done licked the butthole, sucked on a big toe, licked the ear racks out of ears, stuck my fingers in her nose. Like I had to do all and while sucking on her little toe. I had to do everything. I got no pleasure out of that.
You know what? And he was the one who picked the thing because for the game you have these dice, and you pick what you want them to represent, and he picked them. So I don't know why he's complaining because I asked him, "Hey, give me what did I tell you? Give me so many zones or areas on your body," and he gave them to me. I said, "Give me so many activities," and he gave them to me. Now it's not my fault that every time he kept rolling the dice, he ended up with him having to do something freaky for a little bit of change.
Yeah, don't play that game.
But it's a good book.
I was frustrated.
It's a good book for couples. So if you get a chance, pick it up and play it. It's very interesting. We're gonna play some more of it.
No, I quit.
We are gonna play some more of it. So, all right. We will see you all next week. Sorry we were late again. We had some technical difficulties. I don't know what was going on with that. I think every day
We're about to become
weird.
sexual. I'm gonna see how much of this she can take. Come here.
Yeah, because y'all always can tell when he get tired, right?
I'm not a little kid.
Because he can tell when he gets tired. He's like a little kid. He gets tired. He just starts saying anything, doing anything. That's when I'd be like, yes,
no, I'm being spontaneous.
Yeah, we want to see what we can do with this pillow.
Give it back. Be spontaneous.
Have a good night, y'all.
Yeah, bye. Kiss. What's up, man? Let's see how much of the pillow you can take.